a start. Okay, so for those of you who are playing in the last couple of minutes, I did have a word change up on the screen, and I'll just give that the solution to you there, so you can go home and unbuckle that and make sense of it at your leisure. So port changes to pout, changes to pour, changes to hour. That's the solution. That comes from a website called thinkablepuzzles.com. There are stacks of cool puzzles there, which are fantastic for starting all sessions, whether they're webinars or face-to-face. So I strongly recommend that for you to have a look at, thinkablepuzzles.com. It's an awesome website. Okay, today I have a giveaway for you. We'll start off by letting you know there is a giveaway. I've got an e-book to give away. It's written by Mark Ratcliffe, who's the founder and CEO of the organisation I work for, Mr. Webb Training and Assessment, and we've got an e-book to give away, and I thought, oh, how do I do that? And I've come up with a plan. So for those of you who are on Twitter, it's a good plan because it involves tweeting. All you need to do is tweet something today about this session. So maybe it might be a tool that you find fascinating or something that you haven't thought about before, a way that you can integrate technology into your evaluations. And to do that, just use the hashtag DTWDshorts, which is the hashtag for all of today, and just make sure I see it as well by mentioning my handle at Damien Nowd. So you might want to take a few seconds just to jot that down. If you're active on Twitter, you'll have to just do that anytime during the session today or even after the session. I'll have a look at those late tonight, and I'll pick a winner and I'll contact you, and we'll get an ebook of the training toolkit to you. All right, let's get started with the content. Now, today's topic is putting the E into evaluation, ways to improve evaluation by using simple and cost-effective technology. So we don't have limitless budgets. We understand that. As training providers, we don't have limitless budgets. So what we've come up with is a group of tools that you can use to help you with your evaluation. Evaluation is very important for us in training organisations. Firstly, it's the way we collect feedback, it's the way we look at it, it's the way we make improvements. In Mr. Webb's 13 years, I know that we just keep making improvement after improvement after improvement based on the fact of the feedback that we get from employers, from clients, from our own staff, and from our students. And we employ a variety of technologies to help us to do that, and it's been very, very powerful. The best way to improve is to get feedback and to analyse it. And today we're going to be presenting you with a variety of e-tools to help you to improve the way you collect information that will help you moving forward. Of course, there's also an aside to this as well, which is the ability to satisfy your requirements. If you're an RTO, then you have requirements to evaluate and to validate what you're doing. And this can also assist with that. But I see that as a bit of a side topic because regardless of that, evaluation is the key to making improvements and moving forward in your training organisation. About me, I am a lead assessor and also the team leader for our Learner Success team at Mr. Webb. I'm coming to you live from the metropolis of Caboolture, which is just north of Brisbane today. And sunny Queensland isn't as advertised today. It's a bit cloudy and miserable, but we're looking forward to having a fun webinar with you. If you want to contact me after today, the details are currently on the screen. I will show this slide at the end of the presentation today. Email me, contact me through Twitter, whatever works best for you, or give me a phone call. Happy to chat with you and connect and answer any follow-up questions you might have after today. As we move through the session today, I do encourage you to ask questions. I probably won't address most of them during the session, but just after the session completes, I've allocated about 5 minutes to go through some of your questions and answer them. If I don't get through all your questions, and I suspect that will be the case, I will get back to you after the presentation today. I'll look to contact you. So if you contact me by email or through Twitter, I'll have your contact details and I'll be able to answer any questions you have. So please connect with me. I look forward to helping you beyond today. All right. We've talked about the little competition we've got going today. If you find something useful or worthwhile, please send it out there into the Twitterverse, and I look forward to reading all your feedback there. Let's get started. We've got a poll. This helps set the scene for what we're going to be doing today. It's about using e-tools for evaluation, so I thought a good starting point would be to have a quick poll. You'll see the polling information on your screen. It looks like a little checkbox. If you click that checkbox, you'll be able to choose yes or no. The question is, do you currently use e-tools for evaluation every week? Now, I'm sure you do conduct some sort of evaluation. It might be manual paper-based forms where you collect surveys from students. Certainly a lot of training organisations do that. But do you currently use e-tools as well? Are there some electronic tools you use to conduct your evaluations? Pop in a yes or no into the poll. I can see that the answers are starting to come in. Give it a few more seconds to hopefully collect a few more responses. Just look for the little tick box if you're looking for where to do that. Looks like we've got a relatively even split so far. We've got something on the yes and something on the no. We've got a relatively small room today. We've only got about 5 people in the room. Looks like everyone's just here now. The live audience, I understand you can't click the box, so that's fine. I've got a solution for you. If it's a yes, please put your hands up with enthusiasm right now if it's a yes for you. And for the no folks, pop your hands right up there now if it's a no for you, and please let us know. Okay. All right, so we'll just show those poll results. Chris, are you able to bring those up for us? Chris is helping us today. If not, I will bring them up. I'll do that right now. There we are. So there's the published responses from our web-based people. We had 3 no's and 1 yes. And then we had the feedback from the rooms as well. So I can't see what's happened in the rooms. I can't see you visually. So I'm going to go with maybe there's quite a few no's as well there, which surprises and disappoints to some extent. But, you know, that's the way the world is. Until you get exposures to some of these tools and see the power of them, it's difficult to bring them on board. And what I found really fascinating about Mark's presentation today, I did catch bits and pieces just at the start of his presentation before I stepped away to get ready for this one. And what I noticed was that Mark started by talking about your fears. And fears do hold us back, and fears are one of the main drivers why we don't embrace technology. What I'm hoping to do today is I'm hoping to follow on a little bit from what Mark presented in terms of showing you some tools that are very easy to use. Very. In fact, one of the tools I'll show you today was actually designed for primary school children. And it's extremely easy, and it's an app. So we've got that in there, and we've got more complicated tools, and we've got some pretty serious high-powered tools as well. But there should be something for everyone in this presentation today that you can use and take away that's going to help you develop improved evaluation processes for your organisation. All right, so we'll just pop the hands down. A couple of people threw their hands up, which is great, and we've done that now, and we're going to move forward. First question, have you set up an online survey? Throw your hands up. If you're in the audience, throw your hands up. If you're online, throw your hands up as well. Lynn's throwing hers straight up. You're a high achiever today, Lynn. You were here early. Jason's got his hands up, and so was Ian and Liz, and I presume lots of folks in the audience as well. That's great. I'm going to throw those hands down, and then we're going to give you a chance to answer another question for us. The hands are down. Here comes your next question, folks. Have you set up an online meeting or a webinar? Takes a little bit more skill to do this. Jason's straight in. Liz, we've got a yes from you as well. How are we travelling in the audience? The audience back home, so to speak. Okay, we've got some hands up there. All right, let's drop our hands down. And we'll lower all the hands, and we'll ask one more question. Third one, have you uploaded any items to Dropbox or Box? Box used to be called Box.net. Now they just call it Box. We've got a yes from Lynn and a yes from Jason. They're our high achievers, apparently, which is great. And I presume we've got some yeses in the audience as well, which is terrific. All right, we'll drop all those hands down. And we'll also reset our poll as well, because we'll be using that again a little later on. All right, guys, so let's get into some hardcore content. So what e-tools do you use now for evaluation? If you're using a couple of e-tools currently, pop them in the chat box. That'd be good. I'd be interested to see which ones you're using. And it'd be interesting to see if they correspond with the ones we're using as well today. We've got Bob helping us at the moment over in the room. Thank you, Bob. Great to see you there. Have we got any tools that you're currently using that you want to tell us about, folks? SurveyMonkey from Liz. Good on you, Liz. We've got a SurveyMonkey from Jason as well. SurveyMonkey is on the list today. In fact, it'll be about the first one we talk about. But I won't be doing it in great detail because a lot of people have used SurveyMonkey before. Not necessarily to set up surveys, but to respond to surveys. It's very typical. So that being the case, we'll introduce that as one of the options today. All right, folks, so let's move forward with the slides. So there's only one slide of theory today, and this is it. You're looking at it right now. It's the only theory slide. Everything is very practical and hardcore after this slide. Basically, this slide is designed to give you some ideas about how you use evaluation more effectively. And what we've got on the slide is we've got an evaluation cycle. And you can see that there's 5 parts to the cycle. It starts with evaluation. It starts with planning. So we need to plan what is it that we want to evaluate. How might we do that? And you create a strategy for evaluating the success or failures or problems or challenges or opportunities of the training or the projects or the programs that you're either delivering or you're planning to deliver. After you've been through that planning process, you then implement it, put it into action. So you create the program, you create the training program, you get it rolling. And after you implement it, you then start to analyse it. Now, one of the interesting things for today is often it's difficult to analyse and report and use if you don't have that as part of the planning cycle. Often you have to put these tools in place early. You can't go back and look at survey results if you didn't have the survey in place. So it's useful before you start a program or before you revamp any type of training program or project or course to think proactively about how are you going to evaluate and what you need to evaluate. So you plan, you implement, you analyse, then you report, you create reports, and often with a lot of the tools that we're going to be showing you today, they will create those reports for you. You don't need to sit down and document and write pages and pages of reports. That's a little bit old school. And after you've done the reporting, you use those changes, you use that information and factor it back into your planning. So it's a cycle that goes round and round and round. Now, the tools that we're going to be looking at today, we've put them into 6 categories. And you can now see them up on the slide. They don't correspond perfectly to the 5 parts of the cycle. I've tried to put them in areas where they might be used most often, but that's not necessarily the case. And you can see the 6 types of tools that we're going to be looking at today. Support tools, checking for understanding, audience or response or polling tools, collaboration tools, survey tools, and infographics. And basically what we're going to be doing through this presentation today is we're going to be moving through those 6 types of tools. We're going to be starting with the survey tools, moving through to audience response polling tools. The 3rd one will be checking for understanding. The 4th one, collaboration, then infographics, and then support tools. So that's the 6 sections we're going to be moving through today. And the first 3 or 4 are going to be the longer ones. So don't panic about time. I realise that we've got to finish up by 10:15. I know you need morning tea, and I will not make you late for morning tea, I promise. So we'll move through these 6 areas quite quickly, especially the last few. So survey tools is the first one. What sort of survey tools are available? Okay, I've got a list on the slide. Now, at the end of the webinar today, I will be giving you a way of obtaining all of these resources. So please don't feel compelled you've got to sit there and scratch out all these names and website addresses, because at the end of the session today, I'll give you a couple of ways that you can obtain all of these resources. So I'm not going to be keeping these slides of all the different tools up for very long. They're basically an introduction to let you know there are plenty of options, and we will run through some of them in more detail. In this case here, we're going to look at the first 4 that are on the list, and I'll be leading you through those. I also recommend to you YARP. Google Forms is a good option. A lot of people are very comfortable with Google Documents, and Google Forms is very easy to use as well and works fine. Tallypad and SurveyBoy are apps. So if you're looking for an app solution that you can use with your phone or your tablet rather than a desk-based, computer-based tool to use, then there are apps that are available, and Tallypad and SurveyBoy are very easy to use, and I recommend those to you. However, some of the other options are, firstly, SurveyMonkey. I don't have slides on SurveyMonkey, but it deserves an honourable mention at least, because SurveyMonkey is easy to use. A lot of people have seen it before and used SurveyMonkey on many occasions. So as a result, don't hesitate to look at that, and there's a free plan to get you started, which is great. But another option, if you're looking for something different, is Quick Surveys. As it says on the screen, Quick Surveys is a free survey tool with lots of options. It gives users the options to mix and match different types of questions. You can administer your survey by posting it on a blog, a website, or a discussion forum, or you can email it, which is magical. So you can send out the survey, you can track who's responded and who hasn't. Excellent product, Quick Surveys. So I'd recommend that as an option for you to consider if you're not using surveys in electronic format yet. Here you can see the sign-up page. It's quite easy. On the right-hand side, you put in your name, your address, your password, and you create your account, and you're off to the races. It's that simple. ObSurvey is another option. Now, they describe themselves as being surveys made easy. It gives you multiple choice options, open-ended questions. It is really easy to use ObSurvey as well. So in 45 minutes today, we're not going to have a chance to explore any of these tools in detail, but ObSurvey is another great choice if you're looking for a new type of software to use or program to use to conduct surveys. Here you can see one of the initial slides for ObSurvey. It's very easy. You can see that there's a 30-day trial, which is free. You create your title, you create the survey from scratch or copy from an existing one that you've already got, which can be a time saver, and it's got a video to show you how to do it. Very, very easy. I've got a question for you now. How do you think you could use one of these survey tools in your own training programs? I'm interested in your feedback and your contribution here. If you could type your answer into the chat for those who are online, that would be great. And if somebody is in the main room who can type it in for us, that would be great as well. I believe that Chris is back with us. If you have a chance to pick up one or two responses and put them in the chat, that would be great. Any ideas on how you could use these surveys? I know it takes a little time to type these responses. The brain has to get into gear. You have to transmit the information to your hands and start typing. And it inevitably takes a few seconds.
I think improving digital literacy for students who've come from backgrounds where they've never used a computer before, you could develop a very easy kind of survey and you get them, clicking and dragging and doing all kinds of things that they need to do, and it'd be fun.
Awesome, awesome. And what's your name?
Karen Barber.
Hey, Karen, that's an excellent response. What's interesting, Karen, is that just recently I've noticed with some of the new survey tools that are coming out as well, they're getting really, really good at facilitating those types of options. So the days of SurveyMonkey where you just click a response and that's the only thing you can really do, I can see over the next 2 to 5 years huge changes in this area in terms of being able to click and drag and play and do interactive things, and the survey interacts with you and changes questions as you move through the survey.
Francisca Chokota, these tools are important.
Hello.
Hello. These tools are important when students are undertaking projects, when they are researching on certain topic, and they can get a lot of responses so that they can come up with projects, especially SurveyMonkey.
Agree entirely. That's great. And it goes back to what I said earlier, that if you're not making a deliberate effort to collect the feedback, it makes it really hard to make improvements. All right, guys, we might hold it there for a second, and we might move forward. Thank you very much for your responses from the room. I can move on to the next area, which is going to be fun. Oh, there's one more survey I wanted to mention too, one more survey type, and that's ClipChoose. Now, ClipChoose is pretty simple in that it does something quite different to the others. There is some functionality, I believe it's an ObSurvey that's just been introduced, which duplicates ClipChoose. But what ClipChoose does that's unique is it gives the opportunity to actually do a survey based on videos. So if you've got multiple videos and you're looking for feedback about those videos, you can have different videos as shown on the screen to look at, and people can vote for their favourite video or provide feedback about those videos. Very, very clever in this age of video. Over the next 12 months to 5 years, video is going to go crazy. I read recently that the amount of video that is getting uploaded to places like Facebook and Twitter and YouTube over the past month or so is amazing. It's a huge logarithmic curve of the amount of video that's being uploaded. And Australia, we have some bandwidth issues sometimes, so it makes us a little slower in some respects, although hopefully initiatives like the NBN are really going to help us with that. Video is the next big thing in terms of providing content and seeking feedback. So sites like ClipChoose are going to become more popular for that reason. We might skip that one. Let's move on to number 2, audience response or polling tools. So there's a whole batch of polling tools that you can use, and I've got a bunch of them on the screen there, and again these resources will be made available to you afterwards, and I'll give you a mechanism to do that at the end of the webinar today. But I want to quickly mention a few honourable achievers, and the first one is Poll Everywhere. When I first saw Poll Everywhere, my life changed. It is an amazing, amazing tool. What Poll Everywhere does is it gives you the opportunity, if you're in a face-to-face environment, if you're conducting face-to-face training, of getting feedback immediately through electronic means. So rather than ask people to sometimes put their hands up, which can be a little bit embarrassing depending upon the type of feedback you're after, you can give your participants a chance to provide feedback just basically through their mobile device. They can text a response, they can go to the website and vote. There's lots of options, and as it says on the slide, it makes engagement happen. And it's amazing the creative things you can do with software like Poll Everywhere. One of the things I love about Poll Everywhere is that it has a add-on extension that you add into Microsoft PowerPoint. So you can have a PowerPoint on the screen and it will change as the results come in based upon how your students are voting. Very, very powerful stuff. So I highly recommend you have a look at that. It is extremely easy to use, and it's free to get started with Poll Everywhere. They have a free plan as well. As you can see on the screens, the content adapts on the screens based upon the votes that you receive. Felicity is another free and easy-use polling tool. Registration is not required by Felicity. You basically put in your question, and away you go. It's as simple as the screen you see in front of you. You ask your question, you pop in your answers, you create the poll, and you collect results. It is very, very easy, and you don't even need to register. Ranker. Ranker has become a little bit of a cult survey product. It does something that's very different. It's basically setting up a community of people who are conducting polls and responding to polls. And then there's PollDaddy, and PollDaddy is the industry leader. If you want something more powerful with better options for conducting polls, PollDaddy is fantastic, has some advanced functionality. As it says, surveys your ways, and have a look at this pricing. It's got a free plan, otherwise $200 per year, or the corporate plan of $899 per year for corporations and organisations who do serious polling. And it's a fantastic product, PollDaddy. It's got lots of bells and whistles. If you want high-powered polling, it's a great option for you. All right, if you get a chance, for those who are playing along at home, I like to keep you guys engaged and give you guys some things to do. So I'd like you to pop into the chat how you could use those polling tools. Give you a few seconds to do that. And we might take 1 or 2 responses from the class group as well. If we want to facilitate that at the moment, that'd be fantastic. I'd be very interested to hear what you guys have to say in terms of how you can use polls.
Thanks. It's Karen again. I just thought I'd had an idea that I'm doing little video clips for language learning, and I think if I use PollDaddy, I could find out from students what they liked, what they didn't like, and also I could get information about what kind of video clips they'd like to see that I haven't been producing. So it would be great information, because what I want to produce, I want it to be useful. Okay, I understand that totally, Karen, and
I think that's brilliant. I love what you're doing. Language, anything involving language, especially language teaching, can be tricky because sometimes you have that huge variety, don't you, of people who have great skills and are ready to go, and then people who are struggling. So I can understand that in that environment, polling would be very, very valuable. Have we got one more response there from the audience?
Lubov Krenor and Jody Crane. We work at the West Coast Institute, and we use our Turning Point audience response system. And we use it for different purposes, for revision in anatomy and physiology and physics and chemistry. And we also use it for feedback collection as an icebreaker as well. Anything else?
It sounds like you've got it covered. No, that's great. That's brilliant. Sounds like you're using it for lots of purposes, and that sounds great. Don't know what to add. It's just lovely to see smiling, happy ladies. You guys look like you're having a bit of fun there, which is fantastic. All right, we might move on. We've got plenty more slides to go through, and I know we've got limited time. We need to finish in about 12 minutes. So here's a tip for you moving forward. Have participants create their own polls to reinforce content and support checking for understanding activities. This is a very clever little thing to do. So get your participants to create their own polls, and then they can poll other students in the class. It's a way of them analysing and conceptualising the information that can help them. So there's a bit of a tip moving forward. We're up to number 3, checking for understanding tools. How do we help check for understanding? So it's one thing to do a survey. It's another extension to do polling, but how can we check for the students' core comprehension of what's going on? How can we check for understanding? And we are moving a little bit in the direction here of heading towards testing. So if that's something that you want to be using eTools to help you with, there's a list of 4 on the screen, and we're just going to look at one. We're going to look at one because it's very innovative and very bizarre, but very clever, and that is Kahoot. And the crazy name of Kahoot matches the crazy philosophy and approach. What they do is they use a simple and speedy drag and drop creator tool to manage Kahoots. And the Kahoots can be quizzes, surveys, or polls. Trainers can launch their Kahoots on the screen in front of the class or online, and then people can join through their personal devices. And it all happens in real time, and it's got gaming elements. So if you've got a class where you want to conduct a test, and maybe it's something which isn't going to be formally assessed, but you just want to check their understanding, how about make a little bit of a game of it? And that's what Kahoot gives you an opportunity to do. Now, the screen on the board at the moment is taken as a snapshot of a video. If you go to the Kahoot website, the first thing you see is this video, which only goes for about 6 seconds, but it captures the spirit of Kahoot, and I love it. And what it's got is it's got a classroom of primary school children sitting there, and they're obviously doing something on their computer. And there's 2 boys in the front of the room, and they've just put in their answer. They've just put in their final answer for Kahoot. And you can see them, and they're literally going like this and praying that they've got the right answer. And then it comes up on the screen and they've got the right answer. And as you can see, he's air punching. They're excited, these boys. They've won the quiz, they've won the test, and the rest of the crowd erupts into spontaneous applause for them. And if you can create that type of exciting environment in your training room, you're doing something marvellous. Kahoot allows you to do that. It's easy to go to their site, easy to get started, and I strongly recommend Kahoot for you. All right. I had planned on a 30-second stretch break here. So if you're in the classroom situation, stand up, have a bit of a stretch, make yourself feel good. If you're alone, if you're by yourself, have a bit of a stretch, air punch yourself, not hit yourself, but air punch yourself into the air. And this is my designated water break, to have a drink, to keep me hydrated and keep me happy for the final run to the finish. The good old H2O. All right, let's go. We're not far from the finish line. We've covered the first 3 areas. We've got 3 more to go, and these 3 will be much quicker. Collaboration is the first one. Here's a bunch of collaboration tools. So, whoops, I'll just slide that back up again. Here's a bunch of collaboration tools that you can use to get together with other people. Part of evaluation is not doing it in a silo, not doing it by yourself, but working in teams, working with others. And these tools enable you to do that. We've got HipChat at the top, which is a very popular program, very easy to use. We've got Today's Meet, we've got Blab. Look into my eyes. I need to give you a very specific warning about Blab. Blab runs surveys, and in its most recent survey, Blab identified that the average Blab user is using Blab for 60 minutes a day. Blab is a communications tool where you get together with up to 3 other people and live stream video to each other and to an audience that's watching. Now, the downside of Blab is you can't set up a private Blab at this stage, but I'm sure that that option will come soon. But if you don't mind sharing some information publicly, then Blab would be a useful way of collaborating, not necessarily evaluating student feedback. I wouldn't recommend that in a non-secure environment. But if you want to get together and talk about anything, Blab is a magnificent place to do it. But I do warn you, it is addictive. And I haven't fallen prey to the Blab addiction yet, but it is a fun and crazy place and people are enjoying Blab. There's also other options here, Chatzy, Backchannel, which is a very serious high-powered option. My Editing Buddy is the one that I recommend, that I mentioned earlier, which is designed for young primary school young primary school students. Very easy to use. It's an app. And then there's Canned Responses. I want to put that on the list because Canned Responses is probably one of the most easiest to install pieces of software or add-on to software that can save you an incredible amount of time. It's specifically for people who use Google Mail. If you use Gmail, Google Canned Responses and have a look at what it does. It enables you to set up some responses that you use typically over and over again. If you're one of those people who finds that you're typically giving the same sort of response to lots of people, Canned Responses can save you hours per month. So have a look at that as an option. The collaboration tool that we're focused on here is HipChat. So just a couple of quick screen grabs from HipChat. And there's Today's Meet, and there's Blab. Dangerous, very dangerous. You can sit there and be a voyeur and watch people, or you can go online either through your desktop or through your portable device. Number 5 is infographics. And we'll start off here by showing you some examples of infographics. It's basically a visual representation of information or data. So you can see that for people who are visual learners, and I am one of those, it's a magnificent thing. It can communicate details and results so quickly to anybody who's watching, and people are addicted to these things. They see an infographic and they will look at it. They want to know what's going on. And it's so much more effective than just writing out the results of surveys, etc. A well-designed infographic like the one below can help you simplify a complicated subject or turn an otherwise boring subject into a captivating experience. Sounds fantastic, but the truth is that they work, and a lot of surveys have found that infographics are very successful and are one of the hot things on the internet at the moment. Do you use infographics, yes or no? Let's go to the poll. So go find the poll. For those of you who are in the classroom, here comes your chances. Who's a yes? Who's used infographics? Who's created infographics is the key question. How are we going with the yeses in the classroom for people who've created infographics? Somebody's going to have to be the spokesperson. How many have we got? Not a lot happening, hey? I can tell you that amongst the online participants we've got 4 no's and 0 yeses at this stage. So obviously a lot of people haven't produced infographics yet, and that's fine, but I encourage you to have a look at it, especially if you fancy your design skills. Give it a go. Have some fun with it. Alright, let's move on. There's a list of infographic tools that you can use, Piktochart, StatSilk, etc., etc., etc. Lots of variety there. And Piktochart is a very popular one. Just a couple of slides giving you an idea of what it looks like if you go and have a look. And you can choose infographics, reports, banners, presentations. Lots of options. Finally, support tools. And support tools are there to help us finalise the process. And what we've done is we've listed 4 there: Evernote, Dropbox, Easily Do, and Hightail. Basically, support tools are a way of not just collaborating and sharing dialogue, but of recording materials and sharing those materials. So many of you are probably familiar with Dropbox. Evernote is like a note system and very, very powerful. It's very cool. And I use the free version of Evernote and Dropbox, and it gets me by fine. So please don't think that these things are going to cost you a lot of money, because that's not the case. Here's one tip for you when considering support tools. By leaving evaluation data in cloud storage, it enables multiple people to access and manipulate the information. So don't hesitate to use those cloud-based tools like Dropbox and Evernote. All right, so there's our overview. We've been through the 6 areas, and what I'd like to do is list 3 e-tools that you'll try as a result of this workshop. To help you with that, I'm just going to quickly browse through the 6 screens again. So what are the 3 that you're going to try? Is there a survey tool that's caught your attention that you think might be worth a go? For those of you playing at home, you can pop it in the chat or on a pad. I'm not going to go through these answers with you. You can just jot them on a pad. Same for those of you who are in the classroom situation. Just jot your answers down on a pad. Is it a polling tool that you're going to start using and start investigating after today's webinar? Or maybe a checking for understanding tool like Kahoot? Collaboration tool. Have we drawn you into the blab net? Maybe the My Editing Buddy. Start off small, have a look at that. It's designed for primary school kids. You can manage it, I promise. Infographics, PictoChart, and lots of options there. All right. And support tools, Evernote, Dropbox. Is it time that you've been worn down after lots of people asking you if you have a Dropbox or Evernote? And time to take a launch and take the plunge. What is your next step? Well, basically your next step, folks, is exactly as we see on this slide. We have a young child, and the young child is having a play. And the young child is having a play with some tools. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do today. So after today, when you leave this room, go and have a play with some tools. Go home, pick up the resources list. I'll tell you how to do that in just a second. And go and have a play. You can't break it. Nothing fatal will happen as a result of you having some fun with the tools. And how do you grab the list of resources that I've provided to you? Well, basically, if you go to our website, we have a Training eZine, yours in Training eZine, which is a newsletter. If you subscribe to that, I'll be watching that over the next 24 hours. If you subscribe over the next 24 hours, I presume that you'll be coming from this seminar, and I will send it out to you. mrwed.edu.au. You'll see the sign-up box on that page. If you don't want to do that and you're philosophically opposed to providing emails and subscribing to our email list about training and assessment, then just email me. That's fine. I have no issues with that at all. And so the website address to sign up for the newsletter, mrwed.edu.au, and my email address is dnowd@mrwed.edu.au. I do want to thank you for attending today, and I also want to thank Chris and the team at Summer Shorts for helping on the technical side of things. This is quite a big undertaking for them, having classrooms integrating with webinars, and they've done fantastic from what I can tell. So thank you to Chris and the team. And also I want to thank the department as well. Very grateful to the Department of Training and Workforce Development for putting on the Summer Shorts. I really appreciate the invitation to present today. If there's, I know we're just about at morning tea. Are there a couple of quick questions that we'd like to address before we wrap up? Ian, you make me laugh. He says Donald needs training. Yes, Donald's in the news at the moment. For those who missed it, Donald Trump recently signed up for our Yours in Training newsletter. Thanks for noticing that. You've given me a good laugh there, Ian. Okay, it looks like it's all good from the room for Summer Shorts. Guys, I believe it's morning tea time, so please take a break, catch some morning tea, have a drink, rehydrate. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. You can see my email address there, and I'll get back to you offline. Thank you very much for attending the seminar today, this quick webinar, and enjoy the rest of the program today. I can see that you've got a fantastic program. I know Laurie's there. I know that there's a bunch of people, Yvette and Viv, who are friends, are presenting this afternoon. Have a great time at Summer Shorts, and thanks for choosing this room and coming along and hanging out for a while. Appreciate it. Good luck. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate the applause, mate. I can see that there's a message that's been sent from our team over in Western Australia to please log out of this session and log into the next one. So do make sure you log into the next one. Get yourself settled. You might even want to do that before you grab your morning tea, just to make sure you're all settled and organised there. Not that I don't love you, but I'm just passing on the message. Hope you've had fun. Hope you've enjoyed the session, guys. Look forward to any feedback you're going to provide me. No worries, Chris. Thanks for going. Liz is gone. Lynn is gone.